Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, I will be talking about the AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate Level Examination. We will go through all the exam contents, the different domains that it covered, the exam formats, timings, and everything that you need to know to be ready for your examination. And then I'll be sharing the resources that I used and that has helped me to pass this examination. The Solution Architect Associate examination can be a challenging one, especially if you are coming from a non-AWS background or just starting your journey in the cloud and DevOps field. But with proper resources, guidance, and most importantly, your own hard work and dedication, you should be able to pass it. Having this certification is definitely a great boost for your professional career growth, as well as is a great thing to have on your resume and portfolio. The exam is in the multiple choice question format and you will have 130 minutes to complete the examination and 65 questions to answer. The exam is completely offline, but AWS does offer the flexibility to take this test at your home or a nearby testing center. So right now I am in the official website for the exam, and here you can find more details on the examination and a place to schedule your exam. You can also see sections like who should take this examination and what are the things that they expect you to already know. Like I already mentioned, a solid technical foundation on AWS technologies and services is expected, as well as they expect you to have a proper understanding of different architectural practice, the knowledge on the AWS Well Architect Framework program and things like that. You can find the details over here. One thing to notice is that the cost of examination is 150 USD at the time of this recording, and it might increase when you watch this. Here you can also download the exam guides, which contains all the information about the examination and especially the topics and contents, as well as all the relevant surveys and domains that you need to cover in the examination. So the questions for the examination is divided into 4 different domains, and the first one is designing secure architecture, and it covers 30% of the examination. Likewise, we have designing resilient architecture, which covers 26%, and then we have designing high performant architecture, which covers 24%, and finally we have designing cost optimized architecture, which covers 20%. So that makes it total of 100% across 4 domains. You can follow the exam guide to know more about the kind of knowledge AWS expects you to have in each of these domains. Say for instance, they expect you to have knowledge of IAM, AWS single sign-on, things like AWS global infrastructure and the shared responsibility model for the designing secure architecture domain. So likewise, you can see all the relevant tasks, the knowledge required and the skills that they expect you to have in. So these are the task statements and the knowledge for each of the domains. Towards the end of the exam guide, you can see the list of relevant AWS service and features that you might see on the examination, and you should definitely try to have knowledge on this service and get as much as hands-on practice as you can. Likewise, you can also find a list of out-of-scope features and services and things that will not come up in the examination. So things like AWS Cloud9 or AWS Code Commit. So these are topics that you will not see in the examination, and it's definitely a good practice to also have a look at these so that you don't waste your time practicing too much on these out-of-scope topics. For the first resource, we have the AWS Technical Essentials course. This is offered by the AWS Skill Builder platform and is totally free of cost for you to enroll. This is especially great if you are new to the AWS ecosystem and want to learn some of the basic and core AWS services and principles, and it helps you become familiar with all the different topics that will eventually help you prepare for the AWS Solution Architect course. So you'll learn about things like EC2 instance and all the compute options that AWS offers. You'll learn about AWS networking, things like VPCs, security groups, AWS storage options such as EBS, EFS, and S3. You will also learn about database on AWS. You'll also learn about different monitoring, scaling, and load balancing options. Overall, this is a great course to start out your AWS journey, and I would definitely recommend you checking this out. Next up, we have the official sample question set, which contains a list of 10 questions, and this will really help you to understand what the questions in exam would look like. So I recommend you to answer this question set, as this will help you assess your knowledge skill as well as give you a real hint on what the exam question would look like. Next up, we have another official practice question set, which contains a total of 20 questions, and this is offered by the AWS Skill Builder platform. So I would highly encourage you to check this one out as well. Next up, we have the exam prep course for SAA C03 examination, and this is again offered by the AWS Skill Builder platform. And this course is specially designed to help you give a brief overview on all the domains that you can expect on the examination and the type of question that you can expect to see on each of those domains. So as you're approaching your exam days, this course has great refresher on each of the domains as well as some great tips and tricks that will help you ace your examination. Finally, the last official resource that I would suggest you to have a look at is the white paper for the AWS Well Architect framework, because the exams is heavily revolved around this framework and it will test you on this framework a lot. So if you have time, I would definitely recommend you to go through this document and try to understand the framework in detail. But even if you don't, I would at least encourage you to understand each of the 6 pillars of the Well Architect framework. For the unofficial list of resources, I have my personal favorite, Stephane Maarek's course on Udemy, and this course offers a comprehensive overview on each of the topics and domains that you need to understand to prepare for an examination. He will start right from the basic and take you step by step to all the services and domains that you need to understand. And it also comes with one full practice set which has all the 65 questions, and this course is really a great one. And it's also accompanied by his really good slides that will also help you make things clear. The next resource that I really suggest for you all to check out are the questions from the exam topic. So these questions are really close to the ones that you will see on the examinations, and around half of the questions are completely free to see as well as you don't need to pay anything for it. For each of the questions, you can also see the discussion from the community members on why the specific option is right and the others are wrong. So this will really help to clear your doubts and get a good grasp on different concepts, and I would really encourage you to check these question terms as well, as I really found that these were very close to the questions that you will see in the examination. The next resource that I use specially for the practice sets and to get familiar with the questions that I would get on the exam is the practice question set from Whizlabs. So it had 6 full-length practice sets which help me prepare a lot and get a grasp on the type of question that I would see on the exam. So if you want, you can also purchase their video course, hands-on lab, as well as a sandbox environment, which is especially great if you don't have an active AWS account and want to practice hands-on things in a lab environment. If you want to do more practice exams, I would recommend you buy the practice exam sets from Stephane Maarek. It has 6 different practice sets, and like the course, these are also really great. Although they are a bit tougher than the real examination, but it's a great point, especially if you want to prepare for the worst case scenario. The final resource, rather a community that really helped me pass my examination, is the AWSCertifications subreddit. So if you are on Reddit, then this subreddit has some really cool posts and helpful suggestions that will help you prepare for the examination. You can ask your question, clear your doubts, as well as get tips and tricks from the one who passed the examination. So if you are already using Reddit, I would recommend you to join this subreddit, ask your questions, clear your doubt, even answer some of the questions if you already know. And this subreddit will really help you drive the conversation to prepare for your examination. So although these are all the resources that I used to pass my examination and should be more than enough for you as well, I would like to highlight and give a shout out to 2 of the other courses that are really talked and applauded by the community out there. So the first one is the practice exam sets from Tutorials Dojo. So if you already know him, he's a really great instructor and the way of explaining things is really good, and the way he designed these practice sets are also really awesome. So you will get again 6 full practice sets. So if you want to get more familiar with the type of questions, then this could potentially be a great resource. So last but not the least, we have the Solution Architect course from Neil Davis, and I really like this instructor because of the way he explained different things in simple topics. And like Stephane, this course also has one full-length practice test. So if you'd like to, you can give a go at this test as well. Now, I also want to share some of the tips from my own experience when giving the examinations and scoring 961, which is considered a really good score. So this might be useful for you all. The first tip would be to use the additional 30 minutes that you would get if you are a non-English speaker or from a country where English is the not primary language. So you can request for this additional 30 minutes during the checkout process of your certification exam. So you can quickly request for that, and AWS would usually grant it for you immediately if you are from a country where English is a non-primary language. So definitely request for this, as it will provide you extra time to think and answer your questions. My second tip would be to reach early to your test center. This might depend and vary on your location, but generally it's a very good practice, and I highly recommend you to reach at least 30 minutes to the test center prior to your examination time. because there might be some other attendees or the test takers who are in the same slot. So sometimes the administration tasks are that checking your IDs and verification might take a longer time than you expect. So if you reach early, then you can relax, do all the processing time, go to restroom or washroom if you want those, and just get comfortable to take your examination and do best at your exam. My third tip would be to take full time for your examination. So some test takers might want to leave early thinking that they have completed all their questions, which is not a fault by default, but if you have some additional time, I would rather request you to review all the questions or mark the questions that you find difficult when you're doing your test, and then review those at the end of your test, because towards the end of the test you can always review the questions that you have marked, or just review all the questions that you want. So make sure to mark the question for review if you are in doubt, and review them at a later stage if you have some additional time, rather than leaving your test center early and beforehand. The final tip from my side is that during examinations you will definitely come across certain questions which are very limited, to be honest, but there might be questions which are really difficult and can take up a lot of time if you are just focused in that question. So if you find any questions that you find really difficult or difficult to comprehend, then I would request you to just mark that question for review and do it at a later stage. Just choose one of the options which you find the closest to, rather than wasting your time entirely on that question, because there are a lot of other questions which would be relatively easy for you. So do not waste your time on one particular question if you find that difficult. Finally, talking about the similarity of the questions would mostly be similar to the practice questions that you get on the sample test, the official ones, as well as some of the questions from exam topics. And some questions are also close to the ones that Stephane Maarek course has taught. But once you go through all the contents and resources that I have mentioned in this video, you should be able to ace these examinations at ease. So that is all the tips that I have for you all. So thank you everyone for sticking to the end of this video. I hope this resource will be really helpful for you to understand and pass your examinations as well, and I really wish you all the best for your examination. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Once again, all the best for your examination, and do let me know once you pass the examinations. Bye bye and have a great day ahead. Thank you everyone.